Through the generous contribution of Dr. Lewis's family, we're very fortunate to be able to share with you these timeless recordings of Dr. M. W. Lewis, a self-realized American yogi. Dr. Lewis was Paramahansa Yogananda's first American disciple and dearest personal friend. The wisdom Dr. Lewis imparts through these teachings will give you a dynamic and practical insight into the ancient science of yoga as taught by Paramahansa Yogananda. This lecture's title is Attaining Spiritual Wealth and was delivered in Hollywood, California on February 14, 1954.
Subject this morning, Attaining Spiritual Wealth. Attaining Spiritual Wealth. Spiritual wealth is wealth of the spiritual realm. Remember that. Material wealth, we know what material wealth is. It's wealth of outward consciousness, of physical consciousness, of worldly consciousness. The minute you go to sleep at night, where is your material wealth? It is not there, because that consciousness then is eradicated. But spiritual wealth, remember, is wealth of the spiritual realm. Wealth in Superconsciousness and Christ consciousness. All spiritual wealth is found there. Now, spiritual wealth does not pass away. Spiritual wealth is eternal. Therefore, our first and our greatest need is to attain spiritual wealth. And not to wait until after we're dead and gone, because unless we know it right now in this life, we cannot have it after we are finished with this realm here. That's why spiritual wealth is your highest and greatest need, because it is eternal, it is lasting. Yes, it is everlasting. Now, material wealth, whatever we accumulate, we have to leave. But spiritual wealth always was and always will be, because spiritual wealth is God's consciousness, His power, and greatest of all, His love. I remember a story the Master used to tell about a millionaire, a 3 times millionaire. First he made $1 million. Then he lost it. But he, having a tremendous will and a lot of persistency, he said, I'm going to make another $1 million. And I believe he made the second $1 million. He lost that. And the last I heard, he was making the third $1 million. But when he makes the third $1 million, which no doubt he will, what has he? Nothing. He has to leave it all. Now, if he had spent his time in contacting God, as Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and it's all right to have the $1 million, because I know he would use it in the right way. But otherwise, when he is through with this realm, he will have nothing, because he did not do as Jesus said, lay up treasures, not on earth, but in heaven, because they are everlasting. So let us understand that our first and greatest need is to attain spiritual wealth. You'll never be satisfied. The soul never will be satisfied until you get it. Because all that joy which you think comes from material things, it is not from the material things. It's the fact the soul is hunting for union with God from whence it came. And getting 1 or 2 little things of material nature, it feels good for a minute. It feels fine, but the next minute it realizes it has been fooled. It is not the reality. So merge your soul once more in God. Attain that spiritual wealth. You will feel such a joy that you will not swap it for anything. All the automobiles or houses or anything. Because it is not of this world. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. His kingdom is of superconsciousness and Christ consciousness. Now, the law for creating spiritual wealth is the same as creating material wealth. We've got to do something about it. Vision is all right. But just to dream about spirituality is of no value. You've got to do something about it. If you're going to make something of this material life, you cannot go out and sit down and just dream it. No, you've got to get busy and do something. Do something real about it. I remember when I first met the Master, the first time, by the grace of God, I don't know why, but then he showed me the vision of the great light of Spirit. And then he showed me the thousand-rayed lotus, the light of that. And through the intuition in God's great light, I could see the spiritual side of the thousand-rayed lotus, the arteries in the brain, and the little cells of light bobbing along. Imagine what he did for me. But he said, now, he said, you've had the vision, but if you let me discipline you and regularly meditate, then you can make those things your own. They will be with you. Although the road was hard, that's what I did. Those things are there. So vision is good. It gives you the impetus. But you have to make those things your own through your self-realization. You cannot stop with the dream. You cannot stop with the vision. You must go on. Spiritual wealth will not come of itself. We've got to do something about it. We've got to do something good and proper. If you think that it's hard to make money on this material plane, how do you expect spiritual things to come? You have to get busy. Do something about it. I remember the story, I think I have told you the story about making the money. When I first